Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into a really intense situation unfolding in Georgia. Specifically, the opposition leader Elene Khoshtaria. She's just announced a hunger strike.
And not just that, a call for revolution against the Georgian Dream party. It's quite dramatic.
Exactly. So our mission here is to unpack this. We want to look at the roots of the protests, why she's taking such a drastic step now, and the wider international picture. It's your shortcut to getting what's really at stake.
And I think it's crucial to see this isn't just politics as usual. It's symbolic. It really reflects this deep struggle for Georgia's future.
How so?
Well, the country seems caught, doesn't it, between wanting closer ties with the West, with the EU, and what many perceive as this growing Russian influence. It's like a crossroads moment.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So the flashpoint, this announcement, happened June 27th, right in front of Parliament in Tbilisi.
On Rustaveli Avenue, yeah. A very symbolic location itself.
And she called the hunger strike a new form of struggle. Emphasized she's ready for self-sacrifice.
There was that powerful quote, too.
Oh, yeah. If you can't see the value of life, the value of freedom, here's my life, here's my freedom too, and you still can't beat us. Just, wow. It really hits home the level of commitment there.
Absolutely. And it connects to this longer struggle, right? These protests, they didn't just start yesterday.
No, they've been going on for a while.
Since late 2024, really. After those parliamentary elections in October.
The disputed ones.
Exactly. Allegations of fraud, police brutality, arresting opposition figures. That really lit the fuse.
Okay, so that's the background.
Yeah.
But why this? Why a hunger strike now? What pushed her to this extreme?
Well, the sources point to a few immediate things. The big one seems to be this feeling that the Georgian Dream Party is aligning too closely with Moscow.
And suppressing pro-Western movements.
Right. And then there are the specific grievances, the arrests you mentioned, Zurab Japaridze, Nika Melia, Nika Javaremia.
Japaridze got 7 months, Melia 8. Javaremia is in pretrial.
Awaiting a similar sentence, yeah. It looks like a pattern of silencing opposition.
And then there's the EU situation.
Huge. The halting of the EU accession process, that was a massive blow to hopes for closer integration. The EU basically said key reforms weren't met.
Like judicial independence.
Judicial independence, electoral integrity, those kinds of things. So progress stalled. And there's some really tragic personal stories, too, like detained protesters losing family members while inside, the father of Onis Skadadze, for instance.
God, that's awful.
And Khoshtaria herself. She has direct experience here.
Right, she was detained back in March.
On March 28th, yeah, during protests. And the sources describe degrading treatment, including being stripped and physically assaulted.
That must have been, that personal experience likely plays a huge role in this decision. It's not just political strategy at that point.
You have to think so. It adds this layer of personal conviction, maybe even desperation.
And the world is watching this unfold. What's the international reaction been like?
Pretty significant. You've got the European Parliament, other bodies. They refuse to recognize the election results.
Calling for new elections, release of prisoners.
Exactly. And the U.S. is talking about reintroducing the Megabori Act.
Ah, right. That's the one targeting specific government figures with sanctions, isn't it? Not broad ones against the country.
Precisely. It's designed to be more surgical, targeting those seen as undermining democracy without hurting the general population. A specific tool.
And there's criticism of those so-called Russian-style laws, too.
Yeah, particularly that law on transparency of foreign influence. Very controversial.
Because it forces organizations getting foreign funding to register as agents of foreign influence.
Right. Which critics say is straight out of the Russian playbook to stifle dissent, independent media, NGOs.
You see the solidarity online, too, with hashtags like #GeorgiaProtests, #NoToRussian regime.
#SaveGeorgia. Yeah, it's mobilizing international attention.
So as we record this, June 28th, the hunger strike is ongoing.
And it's worth remembering she did this before, back in 2021, a 19-day hunger strike.
Shows determination, definitely.
So wrapping this up, it's clear Georgia is in a profound political crisis. The opposition stance is incredibly intense.
And the stakes for the country's direction, east or west, seem higher than ever.
Which brings us to a final thought, maybe for you, listener. In a world just flooded with information, endless posts, endless news, what does it actually mean when someone, a leader, commits to something like this act of self-sacrifice?
How does that kind of commitment challenge your ideas about political resistance, about fighting for freedom in our world today? Something to think about.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. It's a critical situation, and we hope this helped make sense of it.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.